Alright, hello guys and girls, welcome to tonight's stream. Bit of a chaotic start to the day. Must be Christmas, running around like loons. Anyway, the task of tonight's stream basically is to try and crack through some of this Christmas rush a little bit. We'll also have a look at Gingy and how to finish off Gingy. We've got a couple of things that I need to finish off tomorrow, including some textiles. We've got a new mount type in as well, so a nice linen slip to have a look at, a nice linen mount board that needs finishing off tomorrow, and that's going to be put in with a foam core float as well. So I'll talk you through how, why that's necessary and what the point of all that is, and have a look at it yourself. So we're going to have a look at Gingy first of all. We're going to lay down Gingy with water reversible archival tape in the right place. Attach the mount that we did the other night, finish them off, and while that's drying, we'll then have a look at doing the mounts, this new linen mount, and we'll use the traditional method with the non-computerized mount cutters, and you can see how I fiddle and play with that. Right. So we just need a nice bit of backing board for Gingy, just to make sure that they're nice and clean. So a nice fresh bit of mount board. Always like to change over the mount board, do a good bit of mount board just to make sure that it's all nice and clean and fresh, and also it's going to be a good high quality mount which is going to last for years and years. So I'll just try and pull this camera a bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. I've been doing a little bit of filming downstairs in the workshop, so you can see a little bit of that a little bit later on. I need a chance to edit it and stuff like that, so you'll get a chance to see when I fully edit Gingy from start to finish. Have a good look at that. So we're just going to use the water reversible archival tape. Always good for two reasons. Is one, it's a nice archival tape, and therefore obviously it's got a nice clean look to it. Obviously being water reversible, it's quite good stuff, especially on limited editions. So it can be removed at a later stage without damaging the print. A bit of water. Make sure that the source is nice and clean before I do that. just a little splash of water. So if you can hear in the background, but we've just got the Christmas party starting up in the browse. Nice for them. And just brush. So very simply with Gingy, first of all, they've pre-attached this tape on the back, so we do need to see if we can lift it. If we can't lift it, then we'll just attach it over the top. You know, the artist put this on here, so feel like it's reversible. So either way, just make a little tab there, and then just a little bit in. Back up and running. Right, now we're back up and running. Let's get this on. So I'll just attach those there. They're drying nicely. So we've got two little ears that stick out the top of Gingy, and then very simply with this other one, just going to put it across the top there, a couple of mil above where very difficult to record things. Pretty hot. Obviously, one of the main objects of these live streams is to record stuff for YouTube so that I can then edit it at a later stage. So doing little projects like Gingy, and I can put it up on our website and things. So the recording equipment goes down. I prefer just to stop the stream and start over again. Locked in. Let me enjoy that's got it this time. I was doing a lot of recording downstairs earlier in the workshop, so we got that battery. These things don't last forever. So, just giving it a couple of mil. Again, I always get my nail inside, making sure that nice grab on it. Another one there. So that's already grabbed in. You can clearly see that has now got plenty of room for manoeuvre. So when those atmospherics come in, it can expand and contract. That tape right across the top there. Any change in terms of heat, humidity, change in pressure, that expansion and contraction, then obviously what's going to happen is it's all going to ruckle like a little curtain. This just gives it a little bit more room to breathe. It also means that we're not touching the image too many points. That's fairly important, obviously, from a tape point of view, because the acid can come through the back of the tape, and obviously you don't want that to happen, especially on a limited edition like this one here. You want to keep it nice and pristine. Now, obviously, the other 50 have had that tape on the back there, so I'm not massively concerned about it being different from the other 49. This is all going to be hidden behind the mount board, so it doesn't really matter from a visual point of view coming through. It's not best practice to put tape like that on the back. That should be taken off. Well, it shouldn't be put on in the first place. I don't know what type of tape they've used. Hopefully it's a good P90 tape, and if it is, then obviously it doesn't really matter. It just shouldn't be all the way across the back. Shouldn't really affect it that much underneath the mount. It may do a little bit, but not tremendously. Got plenty of room to manoeuvre now. Anyway, now that's dry, very simply we're going to attach the mount board. So we're going to put a thin bit of PVA down here, making sure it's nowhere near this bottom edge of the image at all. And then obviously that allows us to manoeuvre it into the right position, make sure it's all nice and pristine. So, as I mentioned before, making sure that our little X is at the base, because we always add a little extra to the base to make it sit well up on the wall, and that obviously is a perspective thing. It just helps make it look like it's properly balanced. So basically by adding something to the bottom of the mount, it means that as you look up at an object, the base looking thinner, so adding that little extra to the base makes it look equal all round. It's a good balance. This is just a basic PVA, so it's basically wood bond to wood bond glue. It wants to come out. There we go. So a nice simple line of PVA, making sure I manoeuvre everything away from it beforehand. Should be plenty enough away from the image. So let's just manoeuvre that into what looks visually like the right area. Then what we'll do is we'll get the measuring tools out in a second and make sure it's nice and precise. Okay. So the only thing that I'm a tiny bit grumpy with about this project is the bit that I haven't done, is the tape on this inner mount here not being perfect, and obviously from a visual point of view I can see the creasing in. Hopefully the customer won't notice it up on the wall. So, nicely equal around. Let's get some weights on it. Let's going to dry off nicely while we deal with something else. So we're going to just have a look at a mount board, as I mentioned, that one, this new linen one. We're also a few projects on the go at the moment, so they're all scattered around safely. Maneuver things so they're not in the way. Things to finish off. This is Monday, this is 2. The water safely to the side. So what we're going to have a look at now is a lovely Jacobean embroidery that's been done by the customer. They've clearly gone on the course and done this really nicely. So it's one of the best pieces we've ever had in terms of backing, which is very nice. But there's this lovely embroidery. Now, as you can probably tell from this, we've got two minor issues with it. The first being that the board itself is ever so slightly bowing. That's just from the actual manufacture of the piece. So by manufacture, I mean the stretching of it. And obviously in the actual embroidery itself, it's got a 3D aspect to it. So we're going to do a double mount technique with a foam core float in between. So very similar to the medals that I've shown you previously. So all we do basically is sandwich a foam board float, so it's not visible, it's out of the way, between two double mounts, sorry, between two layers of mount board. So similar to Gingy actually, but obviously not visible. Let's get it lifted away. Yeah. I'm going to be using the guillotine, so the biggest difficulty here is not chopping any wires. We are going to be using a linen mount board, which is going to be interesting. Got so many different projects on the go at the moment. Space to put. So, just a lovely little board, new product in. So, after you started doing these pre-pack sheets, I'm so used to having 5 packs of mount boards, and then they've suddenly, well, I say suddenly, a couple of years ago, started doing 3-pack sheets and changing all the different colours. There must be a rhyme or reason to it. Same size. So this should be an interesting little experiment. Not used the linen mountboards before, so we shall find out whether they're any good or not. Seem to cut nicely, which is good, but the interesting bit will come when I put it through the mat machine. I think the plan to use the hand mount cutter is always a good idea with this, because it's the computerized mount cutter is a front mounting system, whereas the hand one is a from the rear mounting. Really nice look to it, actually. Triple check those measurements. 30, 30, 3. Again, that important little X. If you are cutting mount boards yourself, then obviously by hand and things like that, it's always a good idea to actually write down your different dimensions. So I'm going to just put my hand over the top here of this. So this is the way we set it out. So we have it's a very simple diagram, and then obviously we have the outer mount circled, and then the inner mount, which you can see is going to come in by 5mm around, and we're going to do 5mm float all the way around. So 70 at the base, 60mm top and sides for the for this one. That's a square in there. Interesting sound with the linen. Through. Needs to change the blade depth on this. Apologies, the camera is going to jump about on that. 1 3 second time. Hopefully that jumping about camera is annoying for you. Just making sure that this cuts through nicely. Just because we're cutting through there. A little bit of nicking out on this. So just changing those dimensions to suit that base. It's all a bit experimental anyway. This is the first one we've cut like this. check it. Obviously, if we're using a computerized mount cutter, we don't really need to do much nicking out. But on a hand mount cutter, it's always better to undercut than overcut. We'll have it within a few hundred microns anyway. So, any good. Emails pinging. Yeah, it's a pretty good first cut. Clean. Just work a little bit on the corners being undercut. If you're doing this, you're just making sure that you follow the actual 45-degree bevel. All I'm doing is I'm just resting my blade on it and then running it down like that. Okay, nice and clean. So we're going to do the secondary mounts. Obviously, if we're doing a double mount on a hand cutter, we always need the you need to do the outer first and then cut the inner. So we're going to do that on a nice I think 6. Yeah, equally. So I'm not too precious about the squareness of this one, as we're going to be using the upper mount of the square. Put that in the pre-love pile, and then small bits, then we can always reutilize them later. So, because we're going to be putting a foam core float in between this the later stage, then we're going to just mask off the back. Just on all 4 sides, stops everything from lifting up. I'm just trimming off the excess mount because it can just take a mill here or there off. Again, doesn't look square at the front. want anything to affect the front of it being square. So what some picture framers do is they put a bit of double-sided in behind here to sandwich it all off. I find that's a bit wasteful, to be honest, because it something great big dollop of double-sided right in the middle of your useful offcut. So 75, 70, 65 this time. So we're basically coming in by 5mm all round. Easier to cut. No linen on the other side of it this time, just trip me up. Use the hand and see that I got a bungee whiplash from the delivery this morning. And but just to set, adjust the settings as you go around. I tend to go around in a clockwise formation, just because it's the way I've always done it. With all of these things, when you're doing masses, mass batches, or you've got customers coming in and talking to you, it's always best to try and do things as standard as possible. That just obviously stops mistakes. It's so easy to make a mistake on any form of mount or anything like that when you've got to stop and start again. There you go. Stop on that. So next thing to do with this mount is we're obviously going to take off this masking tape. Just going to put a foam core spacer in between. That 5mm is going to become a visible 6 to 7mm visual. And we'll lay that down with a bit of textile glue. Yeah, let that dry and we'll go back to sorting out gingy. Right, very spare foam board before I have to chop up a nice fresh piece. Oh yeah, that's going to be nice and big enough. So I'm just going to cut some nice thin slithers off this, so approximately 1.5 to 2 inches. So the nice wide mount board here, as you can see, is well, the outer mount board, as you can see, we just want to fill in some of that gap there. And just overlap it slightly. When you're cutting, obviously, multiple cuts is always better than a single cut. Neatness and straightness. Because none of this is visible, it doesn't need to be precision, just doing it by eye. It's all going to be hidden nicely underneath the mount board. And what we're trying to do with using a nice sharp knife essentially is trying to avoid any this sort of teething occurring, which obviously can fall off over time and leach into your image. We just defluff it. Right, now that I've done, you have to use that guillotine on. So again, with this, I'm just going to use some nice, good quality double-sided. Giving a little bit of a gap to the edge because we don't want any of it visible. Just peel back this finger lip tape. Lay them down one at a time. Just creating a nice little mount board sandwich. Lifting the glass as far away from this embroidery as possible. A nice bit of overlap there. We'll cut off the excess in a minute. Nice wide surface area in terms of this means that there's going to be a nice bond between the two mounts as well. And obviously it's going to be nice and stable when we put the whole frame together. I'll just trim off the excess. Set the frame. This one is a little bit more precise, this back one here. So as you can see, I'm not taking the whole of the finger lift tape away, the double-sided. I'm just creating a little bit of a sticky patch so that I can rotate the upper mount directly over the secondary mount, so we can get a nice clean double mount effect. So there's no it's nice and even all the way around. So again, just paying attention to the two X's, know where the base is. When I'm happy with it, I can just maneuver it. Touch it down. Nothing worse than seeing from across the other side of the room the amount, which is only a little bit off, but just something's throwing your eye. We always like to be as precise as possible. You know, 99% of customers won't notice this, but I guarantee you, if you don't do it, then someone will spot it. You'll get caught out. That's never good fun, having to redo things. It's best to do it right first time. Happy customers means happy life. So, there we go. Nicely sandwiched, got a nice bit of depth in there now as well. So that depth will allow the glass as far away from the threadings as possible, especially on textiles where there are any form of loose threads or anything like that. So it can affect it a little bit. The electrostatic from the pull up any loose threads, and it doesn't look pretty. Let's see how this looks visually first of all. Very nice combination there. Triple check the sizes before we go ahead and do anything. Lovely. All round. Perfect. So we're just going to get the glass from the frame ready. That's always useful. Glass from the frame just acts as a nice bit of weight. And we can get the textile glue out. Always nice clean hands. Been down in the workshop today, so I'm just going to wear gloves just to make sure I don't touch anything on the image. Any form of textile is always a nightmare to touch. Bring that back in. Right. Gloves. So with a good quality textile glue, just going to go around the outside, putting a thin layer. So again, this is not going to be visual inside the frame. It's just going to create a nice bond right on the edge of the image. If they ever reframe it, it's not going to be visible. I'm just wiping down the edge here. Nice strong bonding glue. Also got a little bit of elasticity to it, so it's going to suck the mountboard in to it as well. Yeah, that should be enough. That again. Base. Squidge down in the middle of the maneuver. Check this in the right place again. Grab, which is nice. Minor issue with this particular piece is no nice big square border around the outside of it, so I can get it roughly into the right sort of area, but I'm still going to have to make sure that it looks visually in the right. See if there's any nice patination in the base layer, just to see if it will make it obvious. It's not really. Anyway, so I think that looks pretty good. Again, natural bit of weight from the glass. Put some weights over the top now and it will spread it nice and evenly. We'll leave that to dry for a bit and see what happens. So, Look at Gingy drying. Good, actually. Nicely. So what we would normally do at this point is put it in the guillotine and trim it down that way. But as you can see, he's got quite a bit of depth to him, so it's going to be better to do it by hand. Get that nice sharp blade again. Ruler. Lining up nicely. We can always go around later if we haven't quite got it right. One less to do. So we're primarily cutting through that base layer. There's a little bit of an overlap from the secondary undermount here, but you can see from the edge there we were never in any danger of cutting the actual image itself. So it's all nice and safe and sound and trimmed down, and that will go nicely into the frame. Always, whenever you do anything like this, just triple check for bits and bobs and little marks and things like that, which generally happen with manufacturer. Good thing about any form of mount is that it's always going to come off with a good quality rubber on, like that. Nice. I'm going to put Gingy into a nice white frame. There he is. Vampire Gingy, ready to go. We're obviously going to clean and polish him, pin him in, clean up all the corners, make sure it's all nice and tidy and neat and everything like that before we get the customer involved. That one. ready-made. Just move this back into position. Did it before, but just just a case of me doing a bit of clean and polishing and making it all look nice and clean. Then we'll sandwich tape up the image. Make sure there's no dust or bits or anything like that in it. By the time we finish this one off, the embroidery will have been finished as well. And going to get sleep before I have to get up extra early for another very busy day tomorrow. So one of the issues we've got in Bath at the moment is we've still got this silly Christmas market on at the moment. So there's loads of lovely out-of-towners that will love coming to our beautiful city, our UNESCO World Heritage Site, and coming along and getting their blue vine and wandering around shops and seeing all the little huts with lots of little things inside of it, and the rest of us locals wondering when it's all going to end, why the roads are all clogged up with tourists, and why on earth happens every single year. Somebody somewhere is enjoying it, somebody somewhere is making money from it. Seems to be any of us. I obviously sell primarily to locals, as we've got to manufacture things for people. And it's a bit difficult for locals to get in and come and see us when all the roads are clogged up. So, if you are struggling with the roads or are not local, you can always go to our website. And on our website, there are 23,000 different ready-made options. So I'm sure there'll be something for you there. And that will allow you to have a go at this yourself. Or you'll follow along one of our tutorials and either have a look at our YouTube channel, find on the website www.framecraftonline.com. You can also buy our frames on Amazon. We're in the process of putting all those up there for you. We've only got about 12,000 different options at the moment. We'll have all 23,000 up there eventually, but we've just run out of time with Amazon. There's lots and lots of pictures to put up and videos to make for each individual product. So there's a lot of well, what do you call it, bookmarking images at the moment. Make weights. You know, you can always come and ask us questions if you want to see anything like that. Likewise with our Instagram and things like that, you can have a good look at the different projects we're doing. So after I finish with Gingy, I'll take a nice couple of images and things like that, so you can have a look at them on Instagram and things. I don't know whether you can hear that noise compressor or whether the filters are blocking it out, but I don't like talking over the top of it, so might be a few broken gaps. Noisy old machine, but it does the task. So we sandwich tape the side of these prints primarily to avoid any thunderbugs and things like that going in on the side. Just so it stops any other dust from getting in. So easy to get little marks on these Mountboards, but it's fairly easy to get rid of. It's just annoying. So as I mentioned earlier, it's the type of thing which customer may never notice, but you know, one of those things that you know is going to be there. Question we always ask ourselves whenever we do any form of framing: if you knew it was there, you were giving it, grumpy about it. Professional picture frame, then, if you would, go back in and you do it again. Simple concept, seems to work for us. Now, 99% of the time, no customer will ever notice, primarily for the fact that obviously when you look at a picture, you look at it from 2 to 3 foot away. Whereas obviously when we're doing the framing, we're looking at it from 2 or 3 centimeters away. So it does really emphasize the level of detail we go to personally. A bit of dust on the last edge. I have to release the previous 2 edges in order to get to it. Light. This is the kind of attention to detail that you're paying for when you do ask us to do fitting and things like that. So the level of perfectionism, really. So getting a professional picture frame to fit a ready-made can often cost nearly as much as the ready-made itself. One of the most expensive things in our trade is any form of staff. But obviously you have the key skills to do it, so therefore they need to be paid. And going back in and out 3 or 4 times is time consuming. So with this one, you've probably noticed that I'm double-siding tape, I'm using sticky tape in 2 different layers. That's because there's always an air gap between the glass and the front board and the 2 base boards as well. So again, just going to sandwich together nicely. So we're clipping through the backboard into the frame itself. Through the backboard into the actual frame. That gives it a nice bit of structure. of the joys of carpet. Take a bit of a bashing. I think ever so. I'm just checking the front again, just for any forms of bits of dust or anything like that at all that I can see. Need a bit of tape. Yeah, just using my nail. Always use the nail, trying to get everything nice. Then we use a nice K-tape. So it's a resealable one. It's why resealable? It just doesn't attach to itself because it's got a nice waxy back to it. Allows a nice neat and even finish. Well, excess tape on this. All these little touches and details and things like that the customer may never see, but not worthwhile. Be risking and be doing a bad job, and do a good job. You're happy with, want to be proud. Done. Lag a little bit today. A long day. Up this morning. There's what it says. Time of year for you. Struggle through 10 months of the year, and then you make all your money in the last two. The joy of retail. Actually, always the good thing about video editing is that if I don't talk for a little bit, then I stick over it later. And just cut it out. So essentially, I've got Gingy and this tapestry finish off before I can go home to my bed. Wake up nice and early and do it all again tomorrow. Nice big double D rings on these, just to take the weight. We've got quite a bit of weight. Bit of weight from all the boards that are going through, so Try and take the strain off the one screw a little bit. Probably quite more than happily for many years to come on one screw, but it's much metal in as possible. So normally on Twitch I'll do a little hour or so pull down stream and strategy based reward. Okay, there's Gingy finished. Okay. There we go. There's Gingy. There's Gingy, all ready to go. So the customer should be very happy with that. She's had previous ones from us, so it's a replication of the frame. So what we've done then, just to reiterate, is obviously put a nice frame around it, glass backing. It originally came in with a this triple mount setup. So this colour mount here was on the middle and base. The base wasn't a particularly brilliant high grade mount, so we've changed the base. We've kept the middle because obviously we don't have any of this particular tape in, so we've had to reutilise that. So there's a few tiny issues with that in that the original cut wasn't perfect. And then we put a nice double mount over the top of it with this lovely sepia colour here, which is really picking up very nicely on the background browns and things like that and making it pop out a little bit more. So hopefully the customer comes to that, should be very happy with it. But right. So this is that embroidery we looked at earlier. See now with the glass on top that it's raised away nicely. We're not going to be touching any threads or anything like that at all. The only minor issue we've got is from where the board itself was bent when it was stretched. So obviously as a ply that's working its way away from our mount. So we'll get that clamped down a little bit when it's in the frame with it, so that will reduce it. But by the sheer nature of it, I don't think it's ever going to be perfect. The customer was given the choice of having a deeper frame originally, but chose this very nice one because of the shape of it. It's going to bulge out the back a little bit. Bulge out the back a little bit, have a little bit of a curve. Not a major issue in terms of that. It does help a little bit with clamping. You may get a little bit of curve on the wall. So you can probably see if I push down the mount quite a bit, so the backing board there to get nicely for it. No, it all fits in. Always a good thing to discuss with your customers any potential issues you've got with anything that you manufacture. If they're aware of it, I think our restorer, when we were speaking to him, refers as in managing expectations. A good way of putting it. Always good to manage expectations. Essentially, if you discuss anything with a customer and try and explain it to them, and they understand the concept and the issues and the problems and the benefits of one technique over another, then they know that they understand that you're doing the best with that set of limitations, essentially. As long as they're aware of any potential problems or previous customer gripes, then they usually go away nice and happy. The only problem with doing any form of live stream in the evening after work is that your energy starts failing you after a little while, and caffeine has run out. Nature of this time of year, it's always a busy time of year for us. Sometimes you just get your head down and crack on. Fairly happy with this mounts nicely. Good. One tiny bit of modern cutting, but that seems to fit back nicely. Not the exact colour of the base, but it's very sympathetic. It's difficult trying to get the same colour for these different Hessian and Calico and linen bases. One of the really good things about using this foam core floaters for technique is, especially on things which are made from pencils or pastels or chalks or anything that's a loose surface medium essentially. While you can spray as much fixative, or they usually do hairspray or whatever down upon them, they never fix in properly and they take one little knock and bits fall off. If you just use a single mount, then it can all accumulate on that bottom mount there, but by using a foam core tray it can fall inside. The other little effect of raising the glass even further away from it is that any electrostatic that's built up in the glass itself won't suck up secondary image. You can get almost like a ghost effect from a pastel which is a year or two old. It has that sort of double vision, sort of see two different images. A nice static image. That image out with this frame. So this comes the difficult part where the backing board is bowing a little bit, so we've got to pressure down just to make sure that get a nice clamp on it. No. We've got that little bit of a bow as we talked about before, so put an extra few pins in the corner. Stays down nicely. It's no major issue, this bowing, in terms of structure. That's the added effect of a nice bit of clamp down on there. Good. Right, let's get some tape on it. After we've done that, we shall leave it there and go into my bed. All the kids will have me up at the Cracker Sparrows again tomorrow. Got the wee one all going down the house in the wee hours. Maybe a bit of milk and curls. Textiles are always a little bit deceptive. You occasionally have a little bobble in the material itself, and it does catch your eye when you use the paper products. Nice flat, smooth paper products. What we'll do is, once we've done this, is sign off the live stream, and then I'll rig up the lights and the cameras on the framing desk, and take a lovely couple of pictures of both the embroidery and Gingy, and get them up on Instagram. If you want to see the finished product in lovely photographic light, you're more than welcome to have a look at it. There we go. Fantastic embroidery. There you go. So someone's put an awful lot of effort and work into making that, and I'll go up on the wall as a nice little addition to their house. All nice and safe and sound in there for many years to come. So, there we go. So, go down a bit. Okay, well, thank you very much for watching tonight. If you do want to ask any other questions or get hold of us at all, then please do contact us for our website, www.framecraftonline.com. On that website, you can find 23,000 different ready-made frames and printing options, etc. And we do send them around the country and around the world if you wanted us to. But what we're going to do next is turn off the stream. I'm going to get Gingy and I'm going to get this lovely tapestry all lit up and nice and photographically looking in front of our framing wall, and put them up on Instagram if you want to see those. So thank you very much for watching today, and please don't hesitate to get in contact with us if you'd like to.